Future Pat here. I'm going to jump in and just a little bit of a disclaimer. Now, these are all of your questions answered from last week's video. Now, if you've got something else that you want to know about guitar, whatever it is, anything that you're struggling with, leave a comment below. I will use those comments in the next video. But thank you everyone for contributing in this video, and in all the times are in the first comment below or in the description. All right, back to the video. See you all soon. All right, welcome to the first Pat Answers questions. Pat Answers? I like Pat Answers. Which one do you prefer? But welcome to the first video in a weekly sort of series where I'm going to answer all of your questions. Now, it's not just going to be me blabbing and talking. I'm actually going to show you mini lessons within one video, taking all of your questions. I'm really excited about this, but I thought, you know what, this would be really nice, showing the sort of different pretty scenery, but I realized I need a guitar. So let's head back to the studio. Okay. Now, as you can see, it is the cold Melbourne weather. That's why we're so rugged up, but we do not need all these layers. We are back in the studio. We're going to answer as many questions as we can within the 10-minute time frame. We're going to do it in proper lesson form, not just talking about it. I'll show you on the guitar. All right, let's do it. All right, first question is from Johnny, and Johnny's saying, unfortunately, that he is disabled from back and neck injuries. He has a lot of arthritis. Now he's wanting to know about playing the blues. He's saying he has trouble playing. It's tough for him. What should he do? Now, my advice for Johnny would be the same as my advice for anyone. When you're sort of just starting out, you look down at the strings and you think, whoa, there's so many different options. You've got all your fingers as well, and you think, what am I to do? There's so much going on. So all that I would suggest is finding out what key the song is in. So when you find a backing track, you just go to YouTube, type in blues backing track, and once it says it, say blues backing track in A, and then you know the key is in A. So then what I would learn is the blues scale, the A blues scale. Okay, now once you've learned that scale or that position, all I would do, the only thing I would do is just pick a fret and then just listen to how it sounds. It's so much more important the way that one note is interacting to the whole progression as opposed to playing 1,000 miles an hour. Sure, like playing, with multiple tapping fingers and all that stuff, that's cool for about 3 seconds, and then you just go, oh yeah, whatever. Because you get so desensitized to it. So it's much more important to pick the right notes and hold them for a long period of time. I'll show you exactly what that sounds like. Let's get a blues backing track happening. So if you're wondering what I did there, were the chords in the blues progression, you've got in the A blues progression, you've got an A, and then you go to a D, and then there's an A, and then there's an E in there. So once you know the chord progression, you can just play that first note. Or the frets, if you're wondering what frets I was playing there for that entire progression, is I was playing the 7th fret there on the D string, that's an A note. If you drop down a string, you've got a D. And if you move up 2 strings to the 5th string, then you've got an E note. So if you play any of those 3 notes, A, D, or E, anywhere over the progression, it's gonna sound amazing. And just hold the notes. Once you can do that, maybe try and slide from the fret behind the note. Try and even hold down the note and bend it. Just stick to one fret and hop up and down the strings to hear how it sounds. It's so much more important. Next question, great job. Next question comes from Natalie. Hi Pat, I would like to know how to understand music theory and actually apply it to guitar playing. Everyone explains it on the piano because it's easier, but I'm always lost. Thanks. Thank you, Natalie, for commenting. Now, when it comes to theory, I really think as a modern musician, just start off with a few basic theory building blocks and you'll actually piece together the rest by yourself. But if you want an entire theory course, I'll link in the description below. I will link my theory course. There's 100 videos in there already. There's so much. So if you just want a theory-based course, check out that theory course. If you want more of a modern playlist where you've got theory tips and practical tips, I'll link that as well. Both playlists are in the description. But when you're talking about theory, this is what I would start off with doing. You've got 6 different strings. Great. Learn the names of the strings. So once you've learnt that the thickest string is an E, then you've got A, D, G, B, and E. Once you've learned that, then learn this order of notes. So these are all the notes you can find in Western music. So you've got A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. And then it starts again. So what that means is, if you play all those notes that I just spoke about, they just keep going round and round. So once you played one A note, you play through all those different semitones, you get to another A note, keep going, get to another A, another A, another A. So once you've learnt the names of the strings and all of the names of the notes in Western music, try and find those, just pick one note a day. Maybe exactly what I did, just pick an A note. All right, so you've got an A note on the 5th fret of the 6th string. The next string down is already an A note. Now whatever on the open string is the same note on the 12th fret. Now the next string down is D, so count up from D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Once you've worked them out, it'll sound like this. Just A notes everywhere. Now the important thing about finding those different notes is then you'll start to map out the guitar and you'll start to think, oh yeah, that's an A big chord because it's got an A in the root, or that's a C major chord because it's got a C in the root note. And everything will start to make sense, and you look down and actually understand where the notes are, not just play random frets for no reason. That's how I would start learning theory. Next answer coming up. Next is from Nat Mossy, how to know what to play when playing fast / shredding and doing it so it sounds good. Okay, so this is something I get asked all the time. How do you shred? Now, shredding, great. Like, it's cool if you can do that, brilliant. But instantly, once you've done it for a few seconds, your listeners are gonna be like, yeah, whatever. You just get so desensitized to it. It really doesn't matter, and it doesn't mean much at the end of the day. But I know when a lot of guitarists start out, you feel like you want to play as fast as you can. Now, what I would do if I was starting out is I would start trying to learn up and down picking. So what I would do is I would actually try and combine theory with picking. And so what I would do is pick a string. Let's just do the thinnest string. Try and play all of the notes in C major. Now, if that just went whoosh, what I mean by that is play every note without a sharp or a flat. So that would be, you would play E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So just the names of the alphabet, right? Once you've worked out where all the names of the notes are, try and pick 3 open strings, so down, up, down, and then pick one of those names of the notes. So F, G, A, B, C, D, and then back to E. So it would sound like this. Now if you think, Pat, that's not helpful to me, you played too fast. What I would do is I would get a metronome on and just go type into Google metronome, there it is there. Put it on really slow, like 40 beats per minute, so it'd be like tick, 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 tick. Every time you hear it tick, that's when you would pick. And then just keep progressing that metronome. So once you can play it through, just try one finger. Once you can do one finger, try 2 fingers. Take a methodical approach. Now in terms of knowing what notes to play over what scales and songs, that comes with a bit more theory. So I'd again recommend checking out the playlist in the description. Next answer coming up. And next question comes from Jack. Hey Pat, I've been playing for a while and my biggest problem is memory. So do you have any tips on how to remember longer songs? Fantastic question, Jack. Now, memory is one of those funny things where I myself can remember everything about a person, 1,000 different facts, but I can't remember their first name. Or I'll remember where a song was recorded, how it was recorded, the drummer's name, the instruments that we used, the mics that we used, the studio, but I won't be able to remember how the song is played, or I won't remember the name of the song, or something like that. Like, I have very, very funny things with my memory. But if you're trying to learn a full song and you are struggling with remembering a chorus or a bridge, what I would definitely do is start playing it in the car or while you're walking or a bus stop, on your lunch breaks, things like that. Just have it going in the back of your mind. What I would try and do is, let's say you can remember the verse but you really struggle with the chorus. What I would do is then just play the verse and then play the chorus, but maybe write down or have it written somewhere, maybe half the chorus. So you're forced to try and remember the other half. something like that. Or even you could put it, the full verse and chorus and the lyrics, if you're trying to learn the lyrics, in a plastic sheet on a printed piece of paper on the outside of your shower like glass wall, so when you have a shower you can see it, or on the back of a door, or in the kitchen, or in your cupboard when you open it up to get food, something like that. Just have it around the house so that you're constantly like, oh yeah, that's what the chords are. Or even make a flashcard where you have the chorus chords written out and you think, all right, what's the first chord? Okay, it's A, and then after A it goes into a D major. What's the answer? You know, those sorts of things. Just do different things to sort of train your memory to be able to remember more and more. It's like that old memory trick where you have a deck of cards at your sort of bedside table, and before you go to bed every day, you flip up a card, you have a look, all right, it's the 8 of diamonds, you put it down. The next day you try and remember, okay, the first card was the 8 of diamonds and the second card is 10 of hearts. Next day, all right, 8 of diamonds, 10 of hearts, what's the next one? And it gradually sort of builds that sort of short-term and long-term memory. Those are some tips that I would do, but great question. Moving right along. And next question is from MI or me. It says, I want to learn how to do arpeggios. 8 minutes is better, I think. Now, I think 8 minutes or 5 minutes would be an amazing Pat Answers video, but unfortunately, you know I like to ramble and I like to give you a really big explanation when I explain things. So let's say you were trying to learn arpeggios. Now what arpeggios are notes within a chord. So let's say you've got a C major chord. Now, the notes within this chord, your third finger is playing a C, your second finger is playing an E, and the open third string is the G. So you've got a 1, 3, 5, C, E, and G. What I would do is, now that you know that those are the notes, try and find C and G in different places. So you can play it just like the chord. You can play it here. You can play it here, over here. So try and find those 3 notes, C, E, G, or whatever chord that you pick. Try and find those notes all around the neck. So suddenly you can piece together those pieces of the puzzle and you'll be able to understand the entire neck. Next message is from RNA Music from Ryan. Ryan is definitely an OG. He's an original follower. He's been with me through thick and thin for such a long time. I stayed over at Texas with him and his family. Got to teach some music lessons at his music shop. Love Ryan to bits. Hello Ryan, thank you for stopping by. Next question is from Bob, just plain old Bob. Hey Pat, I'd like to learn how to play it all the way through without getting bored. Any ideas? And he says it's frosty in Arizona. It is frosty in Melbourne as well. Now, if you're trying to learn an entire song and you're getting bored, maybe the bridge is getting boring or maybe the verse is getting boring, what I would do is I would actually change it up. Let's get a proper clean sound happening. Okay, so we've got a nicer sort of cleaner sound happening. Now let's say that you're learning a song, and with the song, you're getting a little bit sort of bored as you're learning it, or you're getting bored as you're playing it halfway through because it's just the same sort of 4 chords all the time and you're getting quite bored. Just try something a little bit different to spice it up yourself as a player. So let's say, you know, the progression was a C, and then an A minor. Let's say it was just 2 chords, and it's 2 chords the entire song, you're getting quite bored. Try and mix it up. One thing you could do is you could try and strum the notes, and then as the build up, you could strum them quite a lot. You could try different strumming pads. You could even arpeggio, or so you could pick the notes out separately. You could try and play them in different positions. So there's so many different things that we've just learnt there. Try any one of those techniques when you're playing a song. So it means that you don't get stuck playing the same 4 chords and you get quite bored. You could even try and just losing the pick for one sort of verse and just using your fingers. And then bring in the pick. And then mix it up and do a little bit of between, and it will give the song so much more light and shade rather than just the same strumming pattern, the same 4 chords. Brilliant question. Moving on. Next we have 3 different questions, all from Yamgar. We have how to get good at ear training, theory, how to improve at improvisation. Now for ear training, I'm going to link some different videos for you. It's got me sort of playing the piano and playing the guitar, and you're learning how to sort of tune by ear. Another thing I would do is just for basic ear training, what I would do is tune up your entire guitar. Once you've done that, detune one of the strings. So maybe detune like the thinnest string, like the E string. And then find an E note, so the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and try and use that E note to tune up the bottom string, so the thinner string that we just detuned. Until you can get it just right. Now that's just a very quick tip, but I would do that. I would try and maybe even detune the 5 strings and only tune your thickest string, and then use the 5th fret, then the 5th fret, then the 5th fret, then the 4th fret, then the 5th fret, then the 5th fret, moving down to tune up your guitar. And that way you're sort of learning to tune by ear, you're training your ears, as well as tuning your guitar. Theory, I'm just going to link you to those 2 playlists in the description of this video, just down below. Definitely check them out. 100 videos if you want to just learn theory. Otherwise, check out the Modern Musician playlist for a little bit of theory and practical. And the last thing was talking about improv or improvisation. Now, the best way you can get better at improv is exactly like that, is just by practicing, is just to do it. So what I would try and do is I would simply find a backing track, just type into YouTube, backing track in A, backing track in C, backing track in G, pick a key signature that you like, and simply just play that major scale, play that minor pentatonic shape, and just learn how to just improvise, just practice. Try and play, shapes and scales that you would normally play, and then try them backwards. Can you find that scale in another position? Can you close your eyes and simply just improvise without actually knowing where your fingers are at all? Can you maybe do something completely different, like using 2 hands? Can you maybe then solo, without even knowing what key it is? Just type in backing track, click a random video, start, and then try and work it out all by ear. The best way to get better at improv is just to do it and to listen to as many different improvisers as you can. Next question is from Gene, transitioning from open, muting, and back again. Like anything, this is just a technique and it's just a skill and it takes a little bit of time. What I would try and do is just break it down. I'm going to show you as slow as we can. So we've got a sort of chunky, distorted tone. Now, hopefully when you're talking about muting, you're meaning, well, to me, the question's meaning that you're using your palm to hold down the strings so that when you play it sounds like this, as opposed to got that sort of aggressive muted sound. So what I would try and do is just play an open E, sort of power chord, 2nd fret in the 5th string, open 6th string. Now what I would just do is try and play an open chord and then 2 palm mute. Once you've got that, try and add in another chord, like a power chord on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, or move it up to the 5th fret, up to the 7th fret, and always 2 palm mutes in between the open chords. Start off nice and slow. Take it down a string, try that with the open A power chord. It's just a skill, it just takes a little bit of time. Good luck. And last question of the day is from Ryan. I'd like to understand chords better. My finger transitions are weak. I want to learn to read music so I can play it for myself, because one day I'd love to sit on stage as a comedian and use playing in my act as well as to share with people. I believe in you because you've believed in me. I've learned so much from your videos already. Thank you so much for the comment, Ryan. I really love reading everybody's comments, and nice feedback like that always inspires me to make more videos, so thank you very much. Now I'm going to take it as 2 different questions. Now, reading music, it's just like learning another language, because basically it is another language. It just takes time. Check out that theory playlist, and I know I keep going and saying check out the playlist, but there's a reason why there's so many videos. It takes time, it takes dedication. Go through one video, try the lesson out, try and do a couple different ones a week, and you will definitely be able to do it. The Grade 1 playlist is taking you from never playing the guitar before to being able to read and understand sheet music. So that is for you. Now when it comes to transitioning from chords, let's check that one out right now. So let's say you can play some chords like C, or A, or D, or G. What I would do is I would go to Google, go to the metronome setting, pick a really slow tempo, and I would play one chord and then see how many clicks it takes you to get to the next chord. So let's say you've chosen one chord, A, and let's just focus on one chord at a time. Let's say you're gonna get your fingers ready, you're gonna play an A so you can hear it and it sounds nice. Then you're gonna keep the metronome in the background so it's ticking away, tick, 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 tick. Now while it's ticking in the background, take your fingers completely off and count how many ticks it takes you to get them back on and to hear it nice and cleanly. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you've got your score. Your score is 7. So now when you practice the chord, the next time you practice that A chord, you've got to try and beat 7. Go for 6 clicks. Or if it's 20 clicks, go for 18 clicks. Take your time, and it's just a skill that you've just got to get used to, and it just takes a bit of time. There's no sort of easy way to do it. Just the more you do it, the faster you will get. But that's been it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it was a lot longer than what I tried to be, but I always want to try and explain things in as much depth as I can so that everyone is on board and everyone understands. Did you like this first video for Pat Answers? Hopefully I answered all of your questions and you got something out of it. If there's something more you want to learn, definitely leave a comment below and we'll check them out next week. Other than that, follow me on Instagram if you want to see what I'm up to, and I'm going to start a group there. It's going to be heaps of fun. I've been Pat from Pat Dave Music. I'll see you all again really soon.